Hi, my name is Jessica Goodsell. This is my urine production video for our lab assignment. This is my replication of a nephron. Urine production follows these 4 steps: filtration, reabsorption, secretion, and water conservation, and I'll go through all of these in turn. As blood comes through the afferent arteriole, it comes into the glomerulus, which is a capsule that contains glomerular capillaries, and this is where blood is filtered. So small particles like glucose, amino acids, water will diffuse from the entering blood into the capsule, where they are then carried out by an efferent arteriole into the not the peritubular capillaries, the proximal convoluted tubules. So filtration happens in the glomerulus, and then in the proximal convoluted tubules, reabsorption happens. So right here we have represented the tubule itself, and then the peritubular capillaries, which are instrumental to reabsorption, are represented just by the red squiggly lines. So in the peritubular capillaries, they actually receive the nutrients that were taken up, filtered out of the blood and entering the PCT, the proximal convoluted tubules, and they will be reabsorbed into the blood through active transport, passive transport. Active transport occurs for things like glucose and amino acids. Passive transport would be for like negative ions that follows the sodium, positively charged ions, and then water is also transported through osmosis. And then the proteins that do end up getting filtered out, which is pretty rare, are transported back into the blood or reabsorbed into the blood through endocytosis. So that occurs in the PCT. Then we follow that down into the nephron loop. Here we have both the nephron loop and the vasa recta, but the vasa recta only exist in juxtamedullary nephrons. So I've got it represented here, so I've got both of them, but just wanted to point that out. So in the nephron loop, this is where secretion occurs. Secretion is where wastes that are still in the blood will be filtered out and forced into the tubule. That's why they're secreted. They don't passively diffuse like they do in the glomerulus. So then also that's where the nephron loop, that's primarily where that occurs. I also have blood vessels kind of talking to each other, going from arteries into veins and then moving out. Lastly is water conservation. Water conservation occurs also in the nephron loop and the vasa recta, primarily through the countercurrent mechanism, where the descending limb reabsorbs water and the ascending limb reabsorbs salt. So they balance out the water of the body. Water gets reabsorbed here, which means salt follows it. Salt gets reabsorbed here, which means water follows it. And they can go back and forth, basically. Finally, water conservation can be done in the collecting duct. So everything comes back to the DCT. Water conservation also occurs here. And everything goes into the collecting duct, which empties into the minor calyx, then the major calyx, then down to the ureter. The collecting duct may also be the site of urea recycling, where urea leaves the collecting duct and moves to interstitial fluid in order to maintain water balance as well. Thank you.